Hey guys, it's Isaac Legend here. Sorry I've been MIA, been really busy work trip recently, so I appreciate the patience if you guys have been waiting for some posts. But here we go. We have a little bit of a hand trap tier list here. This is just what I think of the upcoming events that have been in the midst of this preparing for Seattle. Now I know I don't have a lot of these. There's probably a better hand trap tier list if I'm being honest. Let's just take maybe like something a little more realistic. That's not maxi. I guess for now this is fine. We'll just do this. It's pretty generic. So anyways, let's just like do this real quick, and then I'm gonna get into some Atlantean analysis of like deck lists that have done well. So first off, I do think that Ash is still very strong. Just generally in most decks, I do think it is still S tier. Hits a lot of things. Hits pretty much everything. It's not really a bad card. You can't go wrong with it right now. In my water build, personally, I'm not playing Ash, and I'll explain that in a little bit. Battle Fader, probably like a C. It's not really that great. Honest, in the C range, not worth running. This, like, probably the best C range. Ghost Reaper is very situational. Maxi, this is in TCG format, so I'm not really caring about that. That hasn't really been ran. I don't really know what that does, so I'm just going to put that there, to be honest. DD Crow is probably in a strong B range. Because we don't have Bystials on this list, let's just put Bystials kind of at A here, just for the sake of argument, because I don't see Bystials here. So DD Crow is going to be like DD Crow and Bystials. I think DD Crow is a little worse than Bystials, but Bystials are pretty good if you have the room to run them. I think Droll is an A tier hand trap because it's like it wins games against certain matchups, so it's definitely a side card right now. It just doesn't do a lot against Malice, so you don't want to be main decking it and caught with your pants down with it, right? Phantasme is fine, but I think you just rather would have the Molchummies. And again, I don't have the Molchummies in here, so I apologize, guys. I was looking for a tier list, but this doesn't have the new tier list for it, I guess. So, like, Gamma, we're going to... if you're watching, we're putting Gamma as the Fuelos, okay? Gamma is Fuelos, okay? Keep this in mind. I think Gamma is, not Gamma, Fuelos is an S tier hand trap right now. You should be main decking it in a lot of your competitive builds. So if you're not, throw it in there, right? It's very good. It's going to give you a really good advantage going second, especially if you can play just with like a free discard. Yeah, so definitely worth the play. For Dogwood, I think it's mid. It's fine. Meister is going to be Pirellia, guys. Like, I guess, yeah. This is weird, right? Like, it's not normal. So, Meister is going to be Pirellia. Pirellia is, I think, like a side card, right? Like, it can do really well, but sometimes you'd rather just throw our hand traps in there. But it can do well. I'm meaning it. Bell, I think, honestly, is high B tier right now. Bell's very good against specific interactions. It's just not... I feel like if you're siding a card, most of the time people are siding in Droll rather than Bell, right? Or like a Bystial. So right now, Bell, in my opinion, is still strong. It's hard to justify playing it over another one. It's kind of that's the weird spot Bell's been in. Imperm still very strong. Doesn't turn on tactics. Imperm might be one of the best hand traps right now. And Lancia is at A. Ogre, I think, is kind of in that range of, somewhere in there. Valor, I know people like to put it here, but I think Valor's here. It's a high A tier hand trap, right? So, and then, like, obviously the new Meowls, I don't think is... Like, Meowls is amazing as a side deck card, so it's awesome, but they can play around it. I think it will give you, like, 1 or 2 draws if you just have Meowls. There's something other crazy. I think it's against Crystron or something that Meowls is good against, but either way, it's just worth having in your side against these decks that sometimes summon from the grave a lot, right? So that's it for like kind of our hand trap, what we think of the hand trap tier list right now. I know it's not amazing. But here's a list from this guy got, what was it, top 32 at Birmingham, right? So we've got 3 Impulse, we've got 3 Imperm, 3 Ash, 3 Pirellia, 3 Fulos. You know, he's got 15 non-engine, which is actually quite a bit. He's got the 6 drawing cards. He's playing 1 Minstrel. He's doing the Molten Glacier Rip. Pretty standard package, except for the 2 main deck Poseidra. Could be correct, could not be. Depends. I mean, he's playing a lot of like waters, right? He wants to see those 2-card combo waters, which is good. So I agree with a lot of it. My list, however, is actually surrounded around not playing Ash or the Imperm. Mainly because I like to... Like, the hand traps are fine, but I would rather just play board breakers and play through my opponent if I'm going second. And if I'm going first, I'd rather just have more extenders and more engine, right? Like, more ways to play through things. So I just think, like, these lists are fine, totally fine, but I think right now it's kind of sketch, right? Like, I don't think 1 or 2 hand traps is going to do enough against especially big meta decks. Now, that being said, sometimes Imperm and Ash, sometimes they do the trick, not all the time. But I think it's really personal preference. I'm going to try it and see how it works for me. You know, the extra deck, Zelantius, he's playing the White Aura package. 3 Synchros, kind of high actually, without playing another tuner in the deck. That's kind of surprising. Don't agree with the extra deck spot here with Porpoise. I guess like with Minstrel, it kind of makes sense, but eh. And then the side deck, the 2 Minstrel is interesting. So he's definitely siding in for beating Droll. Doesn't really care about Nib, but he wants to essentially, you can see, he wants to cross out the Minstrel or even a Lancia, right? Like he wants to cross out a Droll or even a Lancia, because you know you don't want to get caught with like searching something off of like a Bishrine, not searching a Bishrine and then you get Drolled. That can hurt sometimes. So you want to make sure, I guess he wanted to make sure that he has cross out for covering all the bases going first. And then he did side 1 other Poseidra, so he must have had 3 Poseidra going second. Not a bad call, if I'm being honest. I don't think you need 3, but it's not bad. So we got top 32, so congrats to him. Matthew Collins. And then... who else we got here? The Nils guy. So I watched this match actually, and it's unfortunate because I felt like he rushed himself and he was trying to be polite and everything, but honestly, it's easier said than done. Don't get me wrong, but at that stage, I think the thing you have to do is just try to maintain your cool as much as you can. You can't lose your nerve, right? Like you have to take your time with your plays and not necessarily rush them, but don't rush yourself. You know, if that makes sense. Just play the game normally, right? I just think he kind of beat himself. He was in a good position in the first 2 games against the Fire King, and I think Water's still really good. Anyways, right now, so he also was playing 2 main deck Poseidra, which is also very interesting. The 3 Bishrine, the Neptibus. You know, he's playing 3 of a lot of the common package. The 1 Minstrel. You know, he's playing very similar list to the other guy. And then the water statue lock, which is really good. I love it. We love the sauce, right? We've been playing that. We love that. It's pretty consistent getting there. Even if you can't get to Coelacanth, you can still end, I'm pretty sure, on like Toad plus Neptibus plus Waterlock. I'm almost positive. Which is still insane, right? Like you essentially have an Omni, a non-targetable thing, and then making them waste their battle phase, and then you have like a pop and more interruption during their turn, so... yeah, so I agree. And then the 3 Mals I agree with. He was also going cross out on the side, which is very interesting too. So like going first, like post side, he's trying to cover the bases of Lancia, Droll, Nib, which I think that's very interesting. My list for Seattle might actually pivot to have cross out in the side. I do think cross out is amazing when you're playing hand traps. And especially if he has like, you know, Impulse, Fulos, all these other drawing cards, I think are very interesting, and could be worth exploring. So, you know, maybe I do end up going more of the hand trap route here and kind of copying the list, right? Because he is at a solid 42. but I'm not playing some of these other cards like an extra Poseidon or an extra this other fish card, right? Like maybe it's worth exploring that and cutting it down to 40 and just playing the same list, right? And just seeing how I do. I do play Droplet instead of Encore though. I felt Encore was just fine. It was very mid when I used it. Like priority on Dweller is fine. It's like whatever, but I feel like most of the time if they're making Dweller and you only have Encore and like they make Dweller plus Detonator, it feels very underwhelming even then. Like it's still so hard to play through all the hand traps and everything. But who knows? I may throw an Encore in anyways. I think Droplet's still just fine. I think it's a little better. Yeah, I think that's a little bit of a personal preference. There is something to be said though about both of these guys making it this far and both of them playing Encore, Crossout. You know, like they both have this package. So I think there is something to be said about that. Probably worth noting. You know, I'm going to be throwing those on the side, most likely. You know, because you don't want to get hit by a droll and like have to change your lines and have to like overthink too much, right? When you're getting hit by multiple hand traps. So could be the move, guys. Could be the move. So, anyways, thanks for listening to me yap. Have a good night, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and I will hopefully catch you guys on a deck profile when I win YCS Seattle, or not YCS Seattle, Regional Seattle. Catch you next time. We're gonna win Seattle Regionals. Let's go, baby. Thanks.